everyone, I am Mavisika, your number one Kaswa ambassador, and welcome to the Building Your Dream House series. In this series, we are going to get into everything from procuring your land to finishing your house and furnishing your house. So stick around with me and I hope you enjoyed this video. So today we're going to start with buying land in Ghana, and we're basically going to be exploring the different types of lands that you can buy in Ghana. But before we even get into that, if you are new here, welcome. If you're an OG subscriber, it's so good to have you back. I really appreciate you watching this video and all your support. So now let's get into the video. If you've ever bought land in Ghana before, or you've been in the process of buying land in Ghana, you know that the process can be a little bit tedious, but it's very, very important that you do not cut corners while buying your land in Ghana, because it can end up becoming a really stressful time for you if you don't do your due diligence and find out all the information about the land you are buying before you buy it. Okay, so before we talk about the different types of land, I want us to go through the process of buying land in Ghana. Okay, the first step in buying land in Ghana is identifying the land that you want in the area that you want to buy your land. So you can identify this land by walking around and finding the land, or by using real estate websites that list lands available to buy. Or you can also find the land you want by word of mouth. Maybe someone will tell you that their friend is selling the land, or their family is selling their land. These are all ways in which you can identify the land that you want to buy. Now, I would say that before you buy your land, you should go see the land or find a trusted person you know that is familiar with the real estate market at all, or just familiar with different geographical areas, to go check out the land. Okay, because there are some lands that you shouldn't buy. It's as simple as that. There are some lands that are waterways. There are some lands that have a higher risk of landslides, high risk of floods. Those kind of lands, you do not want to buy them at all. Like, there's no reason why you should even compromise. You should just avoid those kinds of lands, right? So just go to that land, go check out the area, especially in the rainy season. Go check out the area and just determine whether the land is a good place for you to build on, and also determine whether the area in which the land is suitable for you. Okay, so that's the first thing. Identify the land that you want. Now, when you identify the land that you want, you need to find the rightful owner of the land. Now, this can be a little tricky because there are some cases where lands in Ghana are sold for multiple people, and most people have claim for this land. In a case where you've identified the land, you should identify the owner of the land, the rightful owner of the land, and you can do this by asking people in the neighborhood who really owns the land. You can go back to the stool in that area to trace who sold the land or what company owned the land, and then whatever information that you get, if you're able to find the owner, you can ask for their documents, their land registration title, their indenture. You take it to the Ghana Lands Commission, you go do your due diligence and make sure that they really own the land and there's no land litigation cases on that land before you buy it, because if there is, you could even go to court for like 20 years, and I do not want you to go through that. Okay, so have that in mind. Now, the next step, you found the land, you found the owner, you've made sure that everything about the land is legitimate and the owner is a legitimate owner and there's no issue. You can now do a deposit on the land, get your land title, get the indenture to be transferred into your name, get the site plan to be transferred into your name, and then you own the land. But also have in mind, it's very, very important for you to actually go to the Lands Commission, because sometimes the person owns the land, they have all the documents and stuff, the documents might be forged, but sometimes that land could even be a road. You don't want to buy a land that's supposed to be a road, because that means in the future someday your house might end up being demolished, and you do not want that at all. So make sure you do your due diligence before you buy the land. Make sure that you are not part of the victims of the Ramsar site demolition that bought land in a nature reserve and ended up paying heavily for it. You do not want to end up in that situation. at all. Okay, so this is the step-by-step process of buying land in Ghana. There are a few more details. I'm going to do a detailed video with an expert in this field, and we'll get into every nook and crook of this land matter. Okay, but yeah, this is the simple process of buying land in Ghana. Now that you know that, let's get into the types of land that you can buy. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be looking at two different types of lands, and they're like the major types of land that you can buy. You can buy a bare land, just land with nothing on it. It could either be virgin, or maybe it's been built on and demolished, or you can buy land with some kind of structure on it. And this structure could be anything at all. It could be a fence on the land, it could be a structure on the land, or it could actually be an incomplete house on the land. Now, buying bare land in Ghana has its pros and cons, and also buying land with a structure on it has its pros and cons. And I really want to get into this because it's a topic that I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, and I feel like it's a very important conversation to have. Okay, so usually you'll find bare lands in Ghana in the outskirts of town. It's very possible for you to find bare lands in town, but very rarely will you find bare lands in town, especially somewhere in Accra, like in the middle of Accra. It's almost impossible to find land there unless it's maybe an old building, an incomplete building, or a land with some kind of structure on it, because Accra has a high encroachment rate. Everyone is trying to get the land there, so someone is always going to build something on it to claim the land. Bare lands are usually in the outskirts. There are a lot of people that when they buy bare lands, they're usually the first people to move into that neighborhood. They might not have electricity for like 6 months and have to walk very far distances for even water. But there are also some bare lands you can find that are in developing areas where people already live. With those kind of lands, it will be easier for you to have access to water and electricity and internet. The first advantage with buying bare lands is that you have total control of the land, and you have total control, not necessarily total control of the land, because you do have total control of the land if you buy it, right? But you have total control on what you want to do on the land. You have the total control on how you want to position your house or whatever property you are building. You have total control on how high you want to go, because you lay the foundations for the land. You design the house from scratch, and you can get your property to look exactly how you want it to be when you buy a bare piece of land and you build up on it, right? Another thing is that these kind of lands, depending on the area in which you buy it in, might probably be cheaper, right? Because no value has been added to it. You are going to be doing everything for the land. So it's probably going to be cheaper if it's not in the middle of Accra. Another thing is that you also don't have to deal with any tenants that might be living on the land, because usually lands that have a structure on it will usually have a caretaker. When you buy a bare land, the land is bare. All you have to do is buy your land and own it. You don't have to negotiate with the caretaker to compensate them for their time there and then bid them farewell. All you have to do is just move in. So these are some benefits of buying bare lands in Ghana. Now, the disadvantage in buying bare lands in Ghana is that you have to figure out the zoning of the land, and you have to do extra due diligence for the land that you are buying, because if it's bare, anyone can claim the land. So you have to really do your due diligence and make sure that the land belongs to whoever is claiming the land belongs to them. But you would have to deal with your zoning, you'd have to deal with permits, you'd probably have to deal with digging fee. Usually digging fees are associated with lands that you buy from chiefs or families, but there are some private lands that you might buy that some people in the area might come and worry you to pay a digging fee, because Ghanaians can be annoying like that. And if you don't pay, they will frustrate you till you either run mad or they run mad. Somebody will run mad, right? But yeah, you'd have to pay those fees. You get your building permits for the land before you can start building anything at all. Else the assembly will keep on chasing you till you pay, okay? So that's one disadvantage of buying a bare land in Ghana. Another disadvantage is that In some cases, it might be difficult to really determine who owns the land. Unless it's a company selling the land to you, you can never really trust individuals like that. There might be a case where they're actually being honest and they actually own the land, but someone else has also paid for the land and someone else owns the land. Another disadvantage of buying bare lands is that since it's going to be out of town, you're probably not going to be close to a lot of the amenities that you would want to be close to. Maybe the nearest schools, hospitals, roads might be a little bit far, and you just have to deal with it till these amenities get closer, or maybe you become the pioneer and actually build these amenities for the neighborhood, right? So yeah, these are some advantages and disadvantages of buying bare lands in Ghana. Now let's move on to buying land with some kind of structure on it. I personally prefer this kind of land procurement because it's safer, you have more confidence in it, and there's a higher chance no one is going to come stress you after you buy your land. So as I said before, lands with some kind of structure on it is very possible that you find loads of it in Accra and its environs. They're usually in town because probably the owner intended to build and live on it, or build it and use it for whatever commercial use they wanted, but they either ran out of money or just had other plans and decided to sell it off, right? So usually the owner has already done all the due diligence. They've already gone through the whole phase of securing the land and making sure that the land is theirs and 100% claimed. So when you're buying it from them, you're already buying that security. You're already buying that peace of mind. Another advantage is that you're going to be close to a lot of amenities. I'm sure even in East Legon, there are incomplete houses there that you could buy today, right? So there's a higher chance of you getting something in town. Another advantage is that you probably don't have to worry about connecting utilities and all that. If it's in town, there's definitely going to be electricity, there's definitely going to be water, there's definitely going to be fast internet. You don't have to start from the grassroots like people that buy lands in the outskirts. So these are all good things, right? Lands with structures on them will give you comfort, it will give you security and peace of mind. But then there are some disadvantages. First of all, someone already paid for the land and they already invested some money to build something on it. Whether it is a fence wall, it's a house, it's a structure, they've built something on it, they've added value to the land, right? So it's going to be a little bit pricier than buying bare land because convenience is expensive. You are always going to pay for convenience. Another downside is that maybe the person didn't build whatever they built on it with the best quality of materials. So you might end up having to spend a lot to renovate this house or rebuild a fence or demolish the structure that's on the land. And doing these things will not be cheap. They are going to cost you some money. And it might be a deal breaker for some of you. In some cases, yes, it might be a deal breaker. I think what you should do in this situation is that before even buying the land, unless this is like the only land you want at the exact location you want, you should find an expert to go survey the land with you, check out the structure, and maybe run a structure integrity test on the structure that's on the land to make sure that it's up to the standard that you want before even procuring the land. Another downside to buying land with a structure on it already is that if it's a fence wall, the previous owner of the land might have positioned it in a way that they prefer. The entrance of the land could be anywhere at all, and maybe where they chose for the land is not where you would choose. So that could be one downside. Also, if they already built a house on it, maybe the design that they built is not your preferable design and you might have to just stick with it so you don't compromise on the structural integrity of the house. Yeah, so these are some of the disadvantages that are involved with buying land with some kind of structure on it. So I'm going to end the video here. I just wanted to make it really short. There are lots of points that I could have gotten into, but I want to get some experts on the video so we can get into more details. But I'll leave you with a tip. If you are currently buying land in Ghana, always negotiate, okay? Always do your due diligence. Second thing is that make sure you get your permits before you start building, and also make sure you get all your documentation for the land as soon as you get in, get everything on point, and also claim the land. If it's a bare land that you are buying, please, 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 you don't want the case where someone encroaches on your land. As soon as you buy the land, build a fence around it, build something on it to lay claim on that land, because there are some people out there that actually don't care if you pay for the land. They will go for it if they really want it. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am Mami Sika, your #1 castle ambassador. Remember that Obranyawara, but life is how you make it. You can make your life really simple if you listen to me and take some notes. I'll see you in my next one. Peace. I'm out.